Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to yet another episode of Sky's the Limit. My name is Bangash, and today we are at Quaid-e-Azam International Hospital. Quaid-e-Azam International Hospital is one of the leading hospitals of Islamabad and Rawalpindi, as we already know. And today our esteemed guest, is none other than the founder and the CEO of Quaid-e-Azam International Hospital. It is Dr. Shaukat Ali Bangash. So welcome to Sky's the Limit.
Thank you.
So, as we know that Sky's the Limit is not just about talking about achievements, talking about career advancements, career progress. It's also about talking about family life, things that people usually don't know about. So we'd definitely be more than interested in knowing yours. Obviously, you're the CEO, you're a big name in the Pakistan entrepreneurship industry, in the Pakistan medical industry, obviously. So tell us about your journey. Where were you born, and about your parents, about your wife, about your children?
I was born in Peshawar in 1961.
Right.
And I was raised in Peshawar. I studied from St. Mary's High School in Peshawar. And then I did my matric and second year from Cadet College, Kohat. And then the medical college from Khyber Medical College. And then I did my house job in Peshawar. And then I went to America. So I did my American board in medicine and infectious diseases. And then, after finishing my fellowship, I came back to Pakistan and I invested and I joined Shifa International Hospital. I worked there for about 8 years.
I see.
And then I decided to build a hospital, which you are in, Quaid-e-Azam International Hospital. So this was basically a journey from birth to when I moved back to Pakistan with some qualification from abroad. The main reason of building this hospital was actually to build a hospital of this magnitude with billions of rupees investment without taking a penny loan from the bank. So that was the model that I wanted to give. In any developed country or any developing country, it's almost unheard of to build a hospital of this magnitude without taking a penny loan from the bank. That was the model I wanted to give. The advantage of that is that I have a very peaceful sleep at night. I don't have any money owed to any bank. I don't have to pay any interest. And when I don't have any thousands and lakhs of rupees interest to be paid to the bank, then I can, give significant discounts to the poor, the one who can't afford certain treatment, or people with low socioeconomic status, then I can just discount them, or sometimes we give free, treatment. So that was the basic advantage. I'm a father of 3 boys and 3 girls. I am married, and I have 6 biological children and about 10-15 that I have adopted,
Oh, wonderful.
From different areas, mostly from Kashmir at the time of the earthquake, So I have a, mashallah, huge family.
Oh, mashallah.
So that's basically my personal life. I'm totally dedicated to the hospital.
Right, and also, like you told us that you have specialized in infectious diseases as well. We know that I think this is one thing that has played a very significant part as far as COVID-19 is concerned. And we also know that your hospital also has played a major role in COVID-19 treatment as well. How important is the infectious diseases treatment in COVID-19? Because we also know that in COVID-19 patients come with different presentations. So how is it possible to know each and every variant when it comes to COVID-19?
Infectious disease as a specialty is basically was never recognized at the undergraduate or postgraduate level in this part of the world. It was a specialty that was started and recognized by the Americans 20-30 years ago. And it was microbiologists who used to practice infectious disease in UK and this part of the world. We were just few who brought this specialty to this country and laid the foundation of infectious diseases. I brought this to Islamabad and the current advisor, advisor to health, Faisal Sultan, brought it to Lahore, and then Naseem Salahuddin brought this specialty in Karachi. So now that the concept is developing and people are now more aware of the importance of infectious disease, because everywhere there is antibiotics or antivirals, antifungals, infectious disease roles comes in, and these epidemics that you see, whether it's a SARS, whether it's dengue, or whether it's COVID, it's all dealt by the infectious disease consultants. Infectious disease has a very vital role in treating patients with COVID. The dynamics have totally changed. It's a combination or a teamwork of infectious disease and the pulmonologist, or the critical care doctors. It's all infections basically, so you really need this specialty. And this hospital has taken the major lead in any private hospital. We have taken like more than anyone COVID patients. We have a vaccination center, the only private hospital which has taken free vaccination, for people. We vaccinate about 400 to 500 people every day, besides the regular operations of the hospital. And the one thing that I want to say, that the two things that I really take a big pride on is that during this year and a half or 2 years of pandemic, we have never refused any patient of COVID that has come to our door or that has come to our emergency that we don't have any beds. We have created a bed and we have taken the patient. So we have never sent any patient back, number one. And second, that though there were a lot of economic fallout, but we have not laid off or fired any of our employee since this pandemic has started. These are the two things that I really want to mention that that I feel.
They must be appreciated by everyone,
yes.
I think.
Yeah.
Yes. Also, Dr. Bangash, did you always wanted to be a doctor when you were a child?
I was very good in mathematics and I wanted to be an engineer, but my father was, he was very good in mathematics, but he wanted me to be a doctor, and he wanted probably first child in the family. So he wanted me to be a doctor, and I, being an obedient son, I said, fine, inshallah, I will be, and I did it, yeah.
And going into the infectious diseases specialty, was that your decision, or was that also a dream of somebody else?
Well, you'll be surprised. Actually, when I did my residency in internal medicine, after that you go for fellowship. So I wanted to, infectious disease was never heard of in Pakistan. And Pakistan is full of infectious diseases. So, I wanted to bring something which was new to the country. But I also wanted to be a gastroenterologist. And so I was confused between the two. And these two affections wrestled in my heart for a while. And then I resorted to istikhara, and my istikhara came back on infectious disease. So I just, took that, and I'm glad that I did in infectious disease, because there was no one here in this part of the world.
That's
yes,
true. That's
yeah.
true. Also, there are many people on social media, they talk about how the private hospitals maltreat patients, how patients are just asked for the money and the treatment is not given properly. People, if you don't pay them, they'll just kick you out, or they won't treat you properly, or they will talk harshly to you. What is the case in Quaid-e-Azam International Hospital?
It's a perception. You cannot change perceptions, Yes, people think that maybe the private hospitals are minting money, or obviously there is always a secondary benefit. But let's look at I can only talk about this hospital. The amount of money, when I started this project, I was 41 years old. And it's not that now today I'm 60. So you can see at the age of 41, whatever I had, I have invested in this hospital. This hospital has taken billions of rupees. If somebody thinks that I'll ever see that money again, I will not. And even if I see that money again, I probably will be 67, 70 years old or something, where I won't be able to swallow this much bread, cholesterol high and, heart attacks and all that, diabetes. So it's not like that. It is the passion that you want to do something for your country. You always want to do something. We always wanted, okay, we should do something for you. So the money that we have invested, number one, we will never see that. Second, things are so expensive. Our electricity bill is in crores, not in lakhs. So, and the medicines, most of these manufacturing is from abroad. We know Pakistan has very less manufacturing, and all the medical equipments, nothing, we don't produce anything here. So everything is imported, and you pay in dollars, and dollars is going high every day.
Yeah.
So people don't understand the problems that really we face. They think that probably we are minting money, but it's not like that. If we can look at the jobs that this organization has created, about 1,500 people.
That's true.
Are working here. So you have to pay them salaries, you have to pay their gratuity, and then how many people here, when they ask for loan, they ask for education funds. We provide all of that beside salary. So a lot of charity work that is being done. So people don't think, but it is not as it is. I am sitting here, I make sure that every penny is used judiciously, and I have very strict orders to my team that not a single rupee should be extra charge. I don't want to feed my children or my staff any haram. So these are the standing instructions. Rest, it's up to the people. They have to come and see and judge,
And one thing that I've heard about you as a person is that sometimes people come who are not in a position to afford or pay, for example, even more than $1 million in the treatment fee that is made, and you have waived it off. We don't see that very often these days.
We just waived $5 million to somebody who was a poor guy, had a COVID, short of breath, and called me. I said, go to the emergency. And I knew that this patient is non-affording. He will be in the hospital for a long time. He stayed in ICU for 2 months, was unable to pay. So we never asked him even once, So there are so many cases like that. We do our best. But obviously, you cannot do free treatment for the whole country or for a whole town.
Naturally.
But whatever comes along and whatever we can do, we tried our best. We also want to contribute our
because like I say, that this program is about people who add value not just to their own lives but also to the lives of the others, and I think you've shown that and you've done that in your life, and I'm sure that must give you a lot of satisfaction.
Things are expensive. You don't control medications, you don't control reagents, supplies are very expensive, everything comes from abroad. One machine goes out of order, you have to, it takes minimum of lakhs and crores of rupees to fix it, So people don't understand that part, there are a lot of expenses, and you can only run the place if you have enough coming in, and then you can,
True.
And that's the rule of economics. So that's something I really can't help. I wish I could do everybody for free, but trust me, since we don't ask for donations, and it is all as a commercial, but we do a lot of charity. Yeah.
Also, talking about how you're an entrepreneur as well, besides being a successful doctor, not many people have these entrepreneurial skills, right? For example, if I talk about my own self, I don't think I will be able to run a business even if I have a lot of money or I'm given an opportunity to invest somewhere. I will always have that fear. What if all that money goes down the drain? What were your feelings when you were first initially investing at the age of 41?
At the very young age, when I was 24, I built a college in my village. And when I went to America, if you go and see that college that has turned into a huge university and all that, I always believed in charity. Since childhood, when I talk to my children, I tell them, I have never refused anyone who is a beggar that comes and, whatever I had in my pocket, even when I was a student, people say that you have money, you spend in charity because you have money. But no, it's not that like that. When I didn't have any money, I'm a self-made person. I went to America with $300, you know. So, and I made my, you know, fortune with hard work. So, but I was best social worker of medical college for 2 consecutive years because if I didn't have money, but I used to go and donate blood, you know, so for the poor. And then I used to convince other people to give blood, you know. I gave about 500 bottles of blood, you know, and collected for poor patients that required that. So I tell people you don't have to be, you know, to be rich to do charity. You can do charity in so many ways. Even a smile is a charity, you know.
True.
Even talking nicely to someone, even just helping, you know, a body language is a charity. So there are many ways of charity. If somebody doesn't have money, he can still do charity, but in their own capacity. So, you know, and the judge is Lord, you know, is a creator. So, so it's not like that. But I strongly believe in charity because my whole life started. You know, I only had like few $1,000s when somebody in America needed that money for education, and that's all I had. So I just, you know, read a hadith. You know, if you give 1 rupee in Allah's, He will give you 10 times. So I said, Shaukat, you know, this guy needs $3,000, and that's all you have. So if Allah's promise is right, He will give you $30,000, which you have never seen in your life. So let's take a, you know, let's do a gamble. So I gave him 3,000. I didn't have any money. I only have $20. So I just came home with $20 and started my life again. And till that day and today, I don't know where the money comes from and how. And I invested everything in. I built this hospital. I'm so happy that I've, you know, played my part and I've, you know, played my role. But you have to believe in you know.
You have to believe.
There was a tawakkul. Otherwise, everybody asked me one question: how dare you thought of this huge? You know, there's Aga Khan built 50 years ago, and then there's Shifa International built 25 years ago, and then this is the third largest private hospital in the country. Yes. You know, built of this magnitude. How dare you have thought of that? What if, you know, anything could have happened, you know? But I think there was a, you know, I just had strong belief. I think Allah has done all this, but I'm lucky that I've been chosen, you know. So, yeah.
True, true.
Yeah.
And have you also instilled these values in your children, both your biological and your adopted children?
MashaAllah, they are all, you know, they're all very balanced. My one son is, Salman is doing post-graduation in infectious disease critical care, you know, in America. I told him this is what Pakistan needs. There is no one in Pakistan with that specialty. So you must, you know, he wanted to become some others, you know, but then for the country, he just listened and he said, he went there. My other son is doing MBA, so he'll be joining a hospital and helping me with administration. My daughters, everybody.
Lovely.
They're all, mashallah, you know, and not only that, they offer their prayers 5 times, but they are tahajjud guzar in a very young age, you know. And they strongly believe in charity because they've always seen their father and mother in charity. We have so many, you know, children at home, so many children that we have sponsored for education, and if you know, so many employees. I don't want to really talk about that, but charity is a vital part. I think we should be doing that, and
that's
and
very
the more
true.
you invest with Allah, and the more you get it. Yeah.
True, true.
Yeah.
And also, one thing I noticed when I was entering the hospital, you have put a huge picture of your parents right in when you went to the hospital. Tell us about them. I mean, what kind of parents were they? Obviously, everyone speaks very high of their parents, but naturally, they must have instilled some very good values in you that you speak so high of them. Rather, I mean, it shows as soon as you enter in the hospital. So tell us about them.
You know, whatever we are, basically, by the grace of Allah, we are because of parents. And our parents have really sacrificed, every parent sacrifice, you know, they for their children, they educate you, and you know, I never saw my father going on trips and to restaurants and spending money or with friends. Whatever he has, he just, you know, paid for our education, whatever we wanted. So my father was basically a lawyer by profession, but then he was he joined Pakistan Broadcasting Corporation and he was controller there.
I see.
Yes, and my mother was a housewife, and you know, but very loving, caring parents. They have spent all their lives for us, sacrificed all their lives for us. And when I was opening this, my parents were the ones. They were ministers sitting in the gathering, but I had my parents launch this project, open this project. My father passed away 11 years ago. I wish he would have been alive, but my mother still lives with me, and I have my breakfast, dinner with my mother every day, and I see her, and you have no idea how much one feels comfort, looking at the mother. Sometimes when she's sleeping, I sit by the bedside and I just watch her. That takes me like all the tiredness, all the stress. The hospital is a stressful job.
True.
All kind of people comes. All there are people who are like sick. Suffering humanity, and it's a stressful job.
And
to
you
cope up with the.
don't just have to manage the patients, but also the administration as well.
So that's why I put their picture, because whatever I am, because of them, I put their picture in my office, and they are the major, players in my life, and I always.
And how's the relation of your children with their grandmother?
Excellent. They're excellent. They spend time. They sit, and then when my father was sick, my, elder son, he left everything, and he was with my father by the bedside for 1 month. He looked after. So they are very attached. If you look after your parents, your children look at that. That's very important, that we should be role models for our children. If we look after our parents, how we treat our parents, our children learn that, and they see that. And this is how what goes around comes around. So that's what it is. I see when I go back, my children comes and they sit with me. Nowadays, these younger generation, they are so busy in computers and mobile phones and here and there. But I see when I go back, I'm never alone. Somebody's always with me, so that's a big, boost.
I think that's a big achievement in itself,
Yeah.
if you have somebody with you
Yeah.
and your children are not engaged in the gadgets, because these days, like you very rightly said, that people are.
It's a peace of
People
mind.
don't-
When you have good children, when you have obedient children, when you have respectful children, it's a big peace of mind for parents,
And it's a big achievement in this era
Yes.
that you have obedient and good children.
Very true, very true. Values, is the only thing left now, that
Because
you
I
highly-
often believe that people who are getting married, they must be given counseling on parenting, on how to be a good parent. And I think you've done that very beautifully, you and your wife. Your wife is a housewife, I presume?
Yes.
Right. And you people have done that beautifully, because like you're telling me how your children are, how they respect, how they're obedient, that shows a lot. That tells a lot.
My children are like very, very helpful in whatever I do. When there was an earthquake, we brought 300 families from Azad Kashmir, and when this hospital was just ground and we were in the design phase, there was no
see.
construction at that time. So we put the tents here, and we knew when I went to Azad Kashmir, I was the first one who took water over there. And when I saw there was total destruction and people were without any roof, so I started taking families out from there and that was the maximum I could do. But I put 300 families here, and I looked after them for a year and a half, and my children were the ones who helped me in that, and my father was also alive at that time. So we looked after those 300 families and children, and my children were watching all that.
Right.
And then after a year and a half, they went back. They were all settled there. But the ones who didn't have any father or were orphans are still with me. They are still living with me for almost 16 years now. Some are doctors, some have done masters. So it's they're all educated now.
And you've given them all equal opportunities in
Equal,
life.
just like my children. They went to same schools as my children. They live in the same houses. They drive the same car that I drive. So everything's same. We travel abroad. We go together wherever we go. So yeah, it's the same. Yeah.
Right. And also, for example, for people like me, right, who always have that fear of investment, right? What would you say to people like me, for instance? If I have money, I want to invest, but I might as well not invest, spend it somewhere, because I have that fear. What if that money goes down the drain?
Well, there are few things that goes with it. You invest only where in an area where you have some knowledge about it. Number one. Second, there is always a risk, but a calculated risk. Not
Okay.
just close your eyes and okay, I put the money and I'll get it. No, it has to be a calculated risk. And then third thing is, even if you lose that money, but then so this was a hospital. If this hospital would not give me any profit or income back, but I know that I have created so many jobs, so many people get treatment every day, that benefit outweighs all other benefits.
That's true.
So and then if you think that way, or positive thinking is very important, and then you get it. This is a secondary benefit. You will get a return, but then the benefit that you are giving education to others, giving good treatment to others. There are a lot of students that comes in. There are a lot of doctors, house jobs and other things, postgraduate training, undergraduate training. So education and treatment, and then the jobs itself, that you provide so many jobs to so many people, and plus all these suppliers, medicine and pharmacy, the medical supplies, and then the cafeterias run, and then there is a different dialysis, cath, OR. All these departments have their own requirements, so much economic movement that is going on,
Which
so
the Prime
people are
Minister
benefited.
talks about all the time in his speeches, that the more job creation we have, the more economically we will
Yes.
progress. Correct.
That's true.
Also, Dr. Bangash, we know that you also happen to be the chief architect of this hospital. Now, okay, I must call you a multi-talented person here, because not only are you a very successful entrepreneur, a successful doctor, but you happen to give a face to this hospital that it has, and it outshines all the other buildings in the vicinity. Now, how did that come to your mind?
I was always like, I never built a room in my life. Even a house I bought, it was a built house. I always ran away from construction because I saw my father building a house, and when he used to come home, I could see his condition. So that building one house is so tough, I was always like, no, I will never. I never knew I will end up building a multi 10-story building, 800,000 square feet area. It's just unbelievable. If I have to do this again, I probably won't. But I don't know how I did it. What I did was I started with a chair and a table, and I had American hospital code book in front of me, and I started reading that book, and then being a doctor, I knew what hospital should be, what are their requirements, and the functional relationship of different departments to each other. Like somebody comes to emergency room, a patient is very sick, he's bleeding or trauma, he has to go to the OR. So the OR should be next to the emergency room. It should be just one floor above. And then he needs workup, radiology, laboratory. So that should be one floor just below the emergency, so you save time. If your ORs and labs are on 10th floor and your ER is on the first floor, it takes a lot of time, to take the elevator, go to the other floors and give treatment. So these kind of concepts, I thought a lot about that. And I think that this hospital, about 1,000 doctors from abroad have seen it, and not a single one has said that they are working in a better, well-planned hospital abroad than this one. So that's a good thing. A lot of technology, if you'll see, there's a lot of technology that is used in this hospital. But I read that book and I went according to that. Every bathroom, each and every bathroom that you see is designed by me. And I definitely have had a AutoCAD operator, Zahir, who helped me. He was sitting, he used to draw lines, and I used to tell him, okay, yahan se ye bana do, this is OR, and these are the corridors, and these are the dialysis, this is the cath lab. So looking at the American code books, consultation with my doctor colleagues and end users, we built the whole design in about 6 months,
Just 6 months?
Yeah.
Perfect.
The
Perfect.
interior, I was the one actually who was not only CEO but CFO, the architect, the marketing head, and single-handedly, and then brought a lot of partners and investors from abroad, to join me. I wanted talent to, come back to Pakistan and
they
give them a hospital. Some of them came, and some of them, because of the condition of the country, at that time there were so many unclear, situations, security issues and safety issues and bomb blast and thing there, then energy crisis. So a lot of people, got scared and they didn't come, but yes, most of the doctors, here, working here are highly qualified and highly trained from abroad.
So, Dr. Bangash, what are the main services that you're providing in this hospital, and especially the ones which are different from the others?
We are almost providing all sort of services,
almost
under one roof.
Right.
We have a very good, strong orthopedic department. We have a very strong cardiology department. We have a very strong gynae department, pediatrics, we have a pediatric PICU, pediatric intensive care. Then we have a neonatal intensive care. We have very good ICUs in the hospital. But beside all the basics like general surgery, medicine, eye, ENT, speech therapy, nutritional services, physiotherapy, we also provide a lot of specialized like nuclear medicine, vascular surgery, and this is the only hospital, probably I would say, in the world within 6 years of time, who has achieved not only all these basics, but bone marrow transplant, kidney transplant, and liver transplant. We have done over 250 liver transplant in this hospital.
I see.
So you can see that I have never heard of any hospital in the world within 6 years that you have done all the basic specialties along with so many transplants which are very specialized. A lot of investment is required, a lot of human investment, resources involved, talent is involved in this. So we provide almost all kind of, we also have a very strong dentistry department, infectious diseases, very good critical care, pulmonology, almost every kind of gastroenterology are very strong, hepatology is very strong. So almost every specialty, endocrinology, that we provide almost every rheumatology, anything that you name of that we have. Yeah.
That's lovely. So would you mind if we take a tour?
Sure, we'll show you some, definitely.
So now we've come to the intensive care unit. Sir, what is the strength of the beds in the intensive care unit, and how are people being managed there?
We have many types of ICUs here. We have a liver intensive care unit, we have a pediatric intensive care, we have a neonatal intensive care unit, we have a bone marrow transplant unit, and then we have a cardiac intensive care, and then we have medical and surgical intensive care unit.
I see.
Now, most of these ICUs are very well equipped. They have these special antibacterial sheets, anti-static flooring, and the beauty of these ICU rooms is that the air conditioning of one room is not mixed with the other one. Every room has its own air handling unit, every room has a separate air conditioning, and they also have isolation rooms. You know that in Pakistan there are a lot of respiratory diseases, especially tuberculosis. So you have a negative pressure rooms. So in every ICU we have allocated 1 or 2 rooms which are negative pressure rooms, so we can put those patients. The other beauty of these ICUs is that we can also dialyze patients in the ICU because they have a few points in different rooms about RO water system, So we can dialyze patient right in there, and then we don't have to transport them to another place or to dialysis unit for dialysis. So any patient who gets sick, they just get the dialysis right here. The other important feature here is, beside the separate air conditioning and the antibacterial sheet, is the daylight. Every room has a daylight, and it helps in healing. It helps in preventing a condition called ICU psychosis, where patient get a little psychotic, So that helps. Another important technological feature of these ICU is that they have pneumatic tube system. This is the only hospital in the country which has a pneumatic tube system, where you have a little box where you put a sample and just press a button, and the sample through vacuum through different all, it's all the whole hospital is equipped with this pneumatic tube system, and the sample can go directly to the lab, and you can do the blood gases, and then you get the result instantly, rather than giving a sample to some person and he goes to the lab, and then elevators, and then the walk time.
To save
and,
time, to
yes,
save precious
it
time.
saves time. If you need some drug, which is in emergency, you need certain medication. You can just send a request to the pharmacy, and they can send you through pneumatic tube system instantly the medication that you need. So that's a big facility in intensive care unit. The other good thing in intensive care unit is that we are providing one-to-one care, one nurse and one patient. So in the whole world, there is either one-to-one or one nurse has two patients. So that's the best care you can provide. We have a good nursing care here. And then we also have a dedicated respiratory therapist in intensive care. We have a dedicated physiotherapist that are there, because some of these ICUs are used for corona patients, COVID patients, and they need a lot of proning, they need a lot of physiotherapy. So we have physiotherapists available around the clock in these ICUs.
How much is the influx of the COVID patients these days?
Right now, we are seeing a lot of COVID, and we are admitting a lot of very sick patients. Unfortunately, most of these patients are not vaccinated. So the one message that everybody should get, they must get vaccination. There are very few, that they are vaccinated and they get COVID, but most of them recover. They don't go towards intubation. One or two have died vaccinated, but we don't know their real history, whether they got one shot, whether they got proper shot, whether they got developing
might be
immunity.
comorbids there.
Yes. So, but most of these people are non-vaccinated. So one thing is that everybody should really get vaccinated. Yes, we are seeing a lot of patients, and we should be taking a lot of precautions. Yeah.
True. So, viewers, we are in the dentistry department. So, Dr. Sahab, could you tell us something about this?
Yeah, we have a very vibrant, busy dentistry department. We do all kind of procedures, dental procedures, orthodontics. You can see we have about 6 chairs here, and Dr. Zahid is leading this department. And alhamdulillah, they're doing a wonderful job with all procedures that you can think of are being done here. They also do a lot of plasma therapy and stuff. Yeah, and you can see it's a nice, neat and clean department.
It is
yeah.
very neat and clean. Yes, I was noticing that, just like the whole of the hospital. But and the corridors that you were mentioning, yes, you're right. I never noticed that before, but today I noticed, and yes, that's quite a calculated thing that you've
That is
done.
for any disaster management. You can open up a bed, a 100-bed hospital, or maybe more than that, within an instant of a time, without disturbing anyone else.
I don't think the other hospitals have kept that in mind.
Pakistan, is not really ready for any disaster, to be honest with you. So that's why I gave that concept, and I'm sure in future, everybody will be thinking on those
Adopt
lines.
that too. Exactly.
The good thing is, in this hospital, you will never see a smell of a hospital. We have kept it so nice and clean. Yeah, you won't feel that this is a hospital. Yeah.
Yeah. So shall we?
Yeah. Let's go.
And viewers, right now we're in the gynae department of Quaid-e-Azam Hospital, and we have the head of department, Dr. Shahina, here with us. Sir, if you can also tell us, and Dr. Shahina, you too, it happens to be the busiest department of any hospital, right? So how do you find the overall technological progress of the hospital and the overall treatment of patients, and how do you people even manage such a huge influx of patients?
Actually, it's not that difficult. We are 4 consultants over here, and I am head of the department, and everybody gets their patients, right? And we have got antenatal care in the morning, and then we have got operation day, when we do all the cesarean section, hysterectomies and everything. And the new technology what we have is where you cannot find it is the colposcope, which we have got it over here. If the patient has got any problem with bleeding or anything, so we check the cervix so that just to exclude if there is any cervical cancer or not. So that is the technology we have got it over here. And other technology what we have got it over here is the hysteroscope. We can look inside the uterus and see if there is any problem or anything. We can sort it out at the same time. And third one is the laparoscope, which everybody has got it.
Right, Dr. Shaina, thank you very much. Thank you. So this is a huge setup that we've seen, and Dr. Sahab, please let us know what other areas do you have which we haven't seen so far?
Well, there are a lot of services that you haven't seen, especially the emergency department. We have 24 hours emergency. We see a lot of trauma, all kind of cases, you know. We have senior level doctors available all the time. The senior doctors are on call all the time. 24 hours emergency services are available anytime. Then we have 24 hours dialysis service. We have a very nice dialysis center. We have a very latest developed RO water system. We have a separate RO water system for hepatitis B and separate for hepatitis C and separate for non-B and non-C, which is very rare in any hospital, you know, to have a separate RO water system because Pakistan has a lot of hepatitis. So a very good, vibrant dialysis. Then we have a very state-of-the-art lab that we have, a good microbiology lab, a very state-of-the-art blood bank, and then a very good chemistry lab, hematology lab. Then we have a very good radiology. We have MRI, we have CT scan, we have cardiac CT, ultrasound, X-rays. So all kind of facilities, you know, that are available in this hospital that you will see.
Right, and also, Dr. Sahab, I would like to know what are the future prospects of the hospital for expansion of this hospital?
Well, you know, healthcare is a vital part of your life. I would say education and healthcare are the most vital things that we should really concentrate on. There's a lot of future, you know, and there's always a room in developing, you know, better services. We have plans to build our own medical college. We have plans to have our own nursing college. Then we also have plans to have paramedical institute, you know, here. So we produce our own trainees and specialized, you know, services that we educate and train people and, you know, provide services. So I think that is the future plan, you know. My plan is to expand as need arise, you know. You always find some place with a better technology and better place. So you want to compete that with the world. You know, we are many years behind West, you know, when it comes to the healthcare system. We don't have hospitals in this country. You look at Sialkot, people are, you know, people even affording people, you know, you produce a lot of medical instruments and you know, sports goods, you export to the world, and you don't have a good hospital there. True. Then look at the Jhelum, then you look at the Aptabad, you look at, you know, Kohat, Parashanar, all these areas, Balochistan, you know, deprived of good hospitals like this, you know. So we need to build 10, 12 hospitals like this, you know. So we come at par with the rest of the world when it comes to the healthcare system.
That's very true. Now also, Dr. Bangash, I would like you to give a message to the laymen, to budding entrepreneurs and to the medical community, all the people who are watching this program. One message from a successful person like you.
You know, the message, I think, you know, I would like that the people should know that if one man like me, a self-made man, can come up with an idea of building such a magnitude hospital, why not collectively as a nation, you know, we can change the fate of this country. If government provides interest-free loans to education and to hospitals, I think we can change this country forever. And you can finish this menace of terrorism, this you know, illiteracy, by providing loans, interest-free loans to people who want to build good colleges, schools and universities. And then to the hospitals, you know. Hospital is a huge project. It takes a lot of money, it takes a lot of efforts, a lot of heart actually to build something like that. And then there are agencies, a lot of agencies that don't let you work. I mean, every day I get a letter from income tax and other departments, whosoever, and everybody wants they should extract whatever they can, but it should not be like that. They should provide us, a good comfort level, so everybody come and get encouraged and invest in this country. So I think the message is very clear for the government to help and encourage those people and to provide them interest-free loans. And for the ordinary public, work hard and trust the Lord. And if you believe in Allah, you can do anything. And then sky is the limit.
Sky is the limit indeed. Well, it was an immense pleasure meeting you, having the whole round of the hospital with you, and having this lovely conversation with you. I hope we keep in touch in the future,
so much.
inshallah.
Thank you for talking
Thank you
to
for
me.
your
Thank
time
you.
and your.
Thank you for coming. Thank you.
Because they always say, find a purpose in life. What are you born for? What are you here to do? And today we actually met a person who found a purpose in life, who made his life worthwhile, who made people's lives worthwhile, who's doing his utmost to save people's lives as much as possible, who's doing his utmost to improve the facilities of healthcare in our country. And even in his message he said so, that the government should focus on that. And the government is. Slowly and gradually, obviously, nothing happens overnight. Slowly and gradually, the government is doing what it can to remove the bottlenecks, to remove all the hindrances, so as to empower people to come to in business field, to come into entrepreneurship, the young budding people, the people who are well settled, doing jobs. Well, let's hope for the best, that something good will come out of this. Everything that's happening, everything that we're watching. And let's hope that people like Dr. Bangash may be produced in this country more and more frequently. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching Sky's the Limit. Stay tuned.